The NFL has officially announced that they will visit Paris for the first time in their history. France will enter the NFL map with a regular season game at the Stade de France, a stadium with a capacity of 80,000 spectators and one of the most recognizable venues in global sports. The New Orleans Saints have already been confirmed as one of the teams involved, while the opponent and the exact date are still to be announced. This announcement comes during Super Bowl week, which the NFL has increasingly turned into a global communication and strategic announcement window rather than just the culmination of its domestic season. The league is clearly using the global attention generated by this moment to reinforce its internationalization narrative and maintain momentum around its expansion plans beyond the United States. And the broader context matters because the Paris announcement is not the only one that NFL has done this week. They have also confirmed that Madrid will host a second regular season game in 2026. The Santiago Bernabéu, the Real Madrid stadium, will once again be the stage for an NFL matchup following last year's match between Miami Dolphins and Washington Commanders, which marked the first league's ever appearance in Spain. That game worked as a proof of concept in terms of attendance, media exposure, and institutional alignment, and the return to Madrid confirms that Spain is now viewed as a recurring market rather than a one-off experiment. But this is not the only plans that NFL has for 2026, since the ambition for this year extends well beyond Western Europe. Australia will also host an NFL regular season games for the first time in history. Last year, at the beginning of 2025, we got to know that the Los Angeles Rams will be designated as the home team, while the rival and also the specific date are still to be announced, with the game happening in Melbourne. Brazil will also host regular season games, with the two teams still to be confirmed, with Germany also remaining a core European pillar with a game scheduled at the Allianz Arena in Munich. Mexico is returning to the calendar with a game at the Estadio Azteca, and the United Kingdom continues to be the central to the strategy, hosting 3 games, one at Wembley with the Jacksonville Jaguars acting as the home team, and 2 additional games being played at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This expansion is happening in a very specific competitive moment. The NFL's push into new European markets comes while one of its main competitors, the NBA, is surrounded by persistent rumors around a potential expansion to European franchises. Conversations involving European cities, existing clubs, governing bodies, and private capital involved in this new NBA format have intensified, but no formal structure, timeline, or model has been announced, and the EuroLeague, that is the main competition happening now in European basketball, is also trying to position themselves to compete against this new model that NBA and FIBA Europe are trying to implement in the continent. The contrast about the expansion and the model that NFL and NBA are following for this expansion is structural, and while the NBA remains in this exploratory phase, testing ideas and trying to get to an alignment around what an European presence could eventually look like, the NFL is already executing, and they've been doing this since 2007, where their first game was played in the United Kingdom. NFL is deploying regular season games, allocating markets, assigning commercial rights, and building operational familiarity on the ground. One league is still debating the framework, the other is already scaling the model. It's not that the NBA is way behind and that they have not done anything in Europe yet. We have seen regular season games happening in France, we have seen games happening in London, and we have seen how they are playing pre-season games around the world with Abu Dhabi, Macau, or Australia already hosting games. But this is completely different, the way that NFL is structuring their expansion compared to NBA. There is a logic, a media logic behind NFL international expansion that often goes unnoticed, and it's the international games of the NFL to extend its live broadcast windows, test consumption across time zones, and strengthen negotiations with global media partners. Europe and Latin America offer afternoon kickoffs that fit prime time US schedules, while markets like Australia open the door to Asia Pacific audiences. This is not only about selling tickets in stadiums, but about reinforcing the league's global media footprint at a time when live sports remain one of the few premium assets in broadcasting. And this goes directly into the commercial layer. Global brands increasingly demand international reach, consistency, and multi-market activation. And by staging regular season games across Europe, Latin America, and Asia Pacific, the NFL is giving sponsors a platform that goes far beyond the United States. Hospitality, brand visibility, content creation, and local partnerships are no longer confined to a single domestic market, and the league is effectively aligning its expansion strategy with the expectation of global advertisers and partners. Actually, there are some speculations about European franchises in a similar model than the NBA is planning to do in Europe, but it is not about creating a separate competition happening in the continent, but about integrating an European franchise in the NFL. For years, London has been at the center of rumors around a potential and permanent NFL franchise outside the United States. The scale of the UK market, its mature fan base, broadcast strength, and operational experience make it the only international territory where a franchise discussion has been taken seriously. Around 40 regular season games have already been played in the United Kingdom since 2007, turning London into the backbone on the NFL's international strategy. The league has tested ticket demand, scheduling logistics, media consumption, and sponsor activation over nearly 2 decades already in the United Kingdom. And if the NFL ever moves beyond games and into permanent international franchises, London remains the logical starting point. This expansion has been supported by a highly structured commercial mechanism, also different than what NBA has: international marketing rights. What does this mean? NFL teams are assigned rights in specific foreign markets, allowing them to develop local fan bases, activate sponsorships, run grassroots initiatives, and establish year-round presence beyond game weekends. This creates continuity and accountability at franchise level, while the league maintains central strategic control. It is a decentralized execution model with centralized oversight, and it explains why the NFL can expand internationally without losing coherence. This structure is connecting with the league's long-term cultural strategy. Since beyond games, the NFL continues to invest in grassroots development through initiatives such as flag football, youth programs, and institutional partnerships. With flag football set to appear on the Olympic program in Los Angeles in 2028, international markets become even more relevant as long-term fan and participation pipelines. The games are the visible layer. The ecosystem underneath is designed for permanence. And this structure is explained in the sequencing. Paris enters a high potential market for games. Madrid consolidates its position as a recurring stop. Germany, Mexico, and Brazil deepen existing demand. Australia opening a new time zone and regional play, with London remaining the anchor market where discussions go beyond events and into long-term strategy optionality. When compared to the NBA, the difference is not popularity, but the commitment that both leagues are showing. The NBA has played precision games in Abu Dhabi, Macau, Canada or Australia, among others, and regular season games in Paris, but its international expansion remains slower and more cautious. Despite a strong global fandom, it has not yet matched the NFL volume-based, rights-driven and market ownership approach. The NFL strategy is based on repetition, predictability, and scale, and we will be curious to see where this ends up and which of these two American leagues is able to be the main internationally, not just getting the domain in the national market in the United States, but to see who gets the most visibility beyond.